The debate of the Krishna Janmabhoomi. The year 2023 will go down in history as one of the most significant years for Hindu Astha. It is the year that saw a centuries-old dream taking shape in Ayodhya in the form of Bhavya Ram Mandir. It is also the year when the Hindu worshippers saw a glimmer of hope in Kashi Vishwanath, with court ordering the Archaeological Survey of India to inspect the Gyanvapi mosque premises and establish the truth. And today, in another landmark verdict, Allahabad High Court has given a green flag to a survey of Idgah mosque premises as well in Mathura. The petition was filed by the deity Bhagwan Shri Krishna Virajman and 7 others claiming that Lord Shri Krishna's birthplace lies beneath the Shahi mosque and that there are many motives inside the mosque premises which establish that it was built on a Hindu place of worship. They've cited a kalash on top of the building, a lotus-shaped pillar and an image of Sheshnag, one of the Hindu deities, all characteristics of Hindu architecture. Now, while the modalities of the survey will only be decided on the 18th of December, as always, the politics could not wait. Led by Asaduddin Owaisi, critics see RSS mischief and a larger agenda to target Muslims. Let's go straight to the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining me on the debate tonight, Waris Pathan, spokesperson of the AIMIM, and also with me is Mr. Vishnu Jain, lawyer for the Hindu side in the Mathura Krishna Janmabhoomi case. Let me ask you first, Asaduddin Owaisi Sahab has already come out, Waris Pathan, and said that this is Sangh Parivar's mischiefs and it has been emboldened by the other Babri Masjid judgment. I want to ask you, अभी तो सिर्फ सर्वे के लिए बोला है, अभी से तलवारें खींच गई हैं, वारिस पठान, and it's a court order. Where does the Sangh Parivar come into this?
Well, Navika, I respectfully disagree with the order passed by the court for the survey of this Krishna Janmabhoomi, Mathura, because I feel there are two things. First thing, the Places of Worship Act 1991 is still into existence. It is challenged but not yet overruled. So we have to follow the Places of Worship Act, wherein it is clearly mentioned that any place of worship prior to 15 August 1947, you cannot change the nature or character of that place. It is clear, and that was passed in the parliament, and that is why we lose for Babri Masjid. During the Babri Masjid also, we were apprehending that these things will come forward because they are asking for 3,000 more mosques. Now, second point is that as far as this Mathura Shahi Idgah thing is concerned, in the year 1968, the Shahi Idgah Trust and the Shri Krishna Janmastan Seva Sangh Sanstha, they came into an agreement and a settlement was agreed between both the parties through the courts that this place will remain, certain part of it remain with the trust and the temple will have its own place. So it was already settled in the year 1968 itself. So what is the use of now going for a survey? Because see, their intentions are mala fide. We know why do they want to go for survey. Now one of the matters is pending before the court. On January 9, it is to be kept for hearing. Why all of a sudden they moved the court and got this order? And I think and I know that they will be challenged, and I am hopeful from the court that this time they will definitely try to see to it that no, this thing affects the country.
It was challenged in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court refused to stay the proceedings and it went back, and now the Allahabad High Court has taken a decision. But Vishnu Jainji, Waris Pathan once again brings in the Places of Worship Act, number 1, and number 2, he brings in the 1968 agreement of the trust with the Shahi Idgah. Please respond to the questions that he has raised.
See, very interestingly, Waris Bhai in his comment has said, and this is precisely our case, that this compromise was entered into between Shri Krishna Janmabhoomi Seva Sangh and Shahi Idgah Mosque. Precisely, that's our point, Navika. Because the entire ownership of this land was vested with deity Lord Krishna Virajman through next friend, which was Shri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust. Shri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust did not file a case. Shri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust did not enter into a compromise. The compromise was entered into by Shri Krishna Janmabhoomi Seva Sangh, which is a different entity, which had no jurisdiction in law to enter into this compromise. Point number one. Point number two is that so far as the argument of Places of Worship Act is concerned, we had won so far as the issue of Places of Worship Act and Waqf Act is concerned by the District Court of Mathura in May 2023. Apart from that, we had won this issue before the Allahabad High Court on 1st May 2023. Now everything is open in the trial, and we are again going to argue so far as the applicability of Places of Worship Act is concerned. My respectful contention is that in this case, Places of Worship Act is not attracted, and even if it is attracted, it is attracted in my favor, because the cutoff date in Places of Worship Act is 15th August 1947, and the so-called mosque has been built or reconstructed, or everything has been done after 12th October 1968. So before the court of law, and therefore kindly appreciate the written submission filed by Shahi Idgah Masjid. What is the stand and affidavit of Shahi Idgah Masjid? Shahi Idgah Masjid says that our mosque is outside this 13.37 acres of land. Now, so only I have to prove before the court of law that this mosque is within the 13.37 acres of land. So what Waris Bhai is saying and what is the affidavit of Shahi Idgah Mosque, those are two different things. And Places of Worship Act, one more thing I want to say to buttress my argument. Places of Worship Act uses the word religious character. That what is the religious character of a premise in question? Suppose I enter into a mosque and I offer puja. Will the religious character of mosque change? Or vice versa, if someone enters into a temple and offers namaz there, will the religious character of temple change? There can be only one answer, that no, the religious character cannot change. Waris Bhai presumes,
and on that point, Vishnu Jain ji, on that point, the Chief Justice in May 2022 said, we are also concerned about these issues, but the ascertainment of the religious character of a place as a procedural instrument may not necessarily fall foul of the provisions of Section 3 and Section 4 of the Places of Worship Act. Now, this is the Chief Justice himself who has observed this, Waris Pathan. और आप हैं कि Places of Worship Act में शायद चीफ जस्टिस से ज्यादा समझ रहे हैं?
नहीं, मैं तो ज्यादा नहीं समझता हूं, बट my learned friend Vishnu Jain on the top of his voice was shouting that even if the Places of Worship Act is there, this will not be applicable to him. My dear learned friend, 1991 when the Places of Worship Act was formed, when the law was enacted, that time everything was taken into consideration. These things were taken into consideration, and very well knowing that the Babri Masjid is there, they said that henceforth no such incident should take place in the country. There should not be more enmity, there should not be more hatred, and that is why the Places of Worship Act was formed with an intention to create peace and harmony. But now you want to interfere into this. You want to take back the Muslims into power. Why? What Aurangzeb did, what not did, this will be led in the court in 1968. Till now, what were you doing? What 1968? Allow me to make my point. You were shouting on the top of your voice, sir. Now let me raise my voice at least, because I was making my submission very diligently. But I think so. आवाज उसी का सुना जाता है जिसको बोलने की ताकत है, और मेरे में बोलने की ताकत है, तो मैं बोलूंगा. अभी सुनिए ना आप मेरी बात. Places of Worship में क्यों आया था 1991 का? इसीलिए ना, अरे हमने एक बार तब इसी तरह एफिडेविट फाइल कर दिया था. बोले सुप्रीम कोर्ट में. सुनिए विष्णु साहब, Vishnu bhai, allow me to make my points here. I was listening very patiently, Navika.
All right, make your point. Make your point, Waris Pathan.
Now, इसी तरह से similar way an affidavit was filed in the Honorable Supreme Court during the Babri Masjid time. But what happened? They went on the 6th of December 1992 and they demolished. हमारी बाबरी मस्जिद को झूठ बोलकर शहीद कर दिया गया, धोखे से शहीद कर दिया. पहले कहा कि वहां पे रात के अंदर ताला खोल दिया, फिर बोला रात के अंधेरे के अंदर मूर्ति प्रकट हो गई, और उसके बाद 6 दिसंबर ब्लैक डे इन द डेमोक्रेसी ऑफ आवर कंट्री, बाबरी मस्जिद को शहीद कर दिया. That is why we don't want to lose any other mosque. We know where we stand and we want to follow the Places of Worship Act.
Are you fear-mongering? Nobody is losing a mosque. Nobody is losing the mosque just yet. But may I tell you, what is being done right now is that the character of the place is being ascertained. Waris Pathan ji, कैरेक्टर क्या था इस जगह का, वो ही मेंटेन होना चाहिए.
Why you want to ascertain? Why you want to ascertain?
Because that is the act.
No, why you
and
want
that
to
is what the court has said, Vishnu Jain ji. Why do you want to? Why do you want to ascertain? वारिस भाई, कहीं आप ये तो नहीं जानते कि जो मस्जिद है वो मंदिर की जगह पर बना हुआ है, इसीलिए आप कह रहे हैं why do you want to ascertain? Vishnu Jain ji.
अरे तो that question
now,
will be answered
now,
by
now Navika, can I respond?
Was the Maharaja that they used to do like that
just
only.
a minute.
That time there was no constitution. Today there is a constitution. We follow the constitution. There is a places of worship act. We have to go through
now
that.
Now
we cannot just surpass everything.
Waris Pathan, just the ascertaining of the nature of the worshipping place is something that does not go foul of the Places of Worship Act. This is what the Chief Justice of India has said. Now allow Vishnu Jain to respond to what you have said.
No, that matter is sub judice. People have moved against the Places of Worship.
No,
it is still there, present the Places of Worship.
Now can you,
and you cannot surpass that merely because of your whims and fancies. You cannot change that.
Vishnu Jain ji.
Now can I respond? I'll tell you, Navika, why he is so impatient. The fact of the matter is that there is a documented history in Majlis-e Alamgiri of demolition of a Hindu temple in 1670. There is a documented history in 1770 that the Marathas had won this place in Battle of Govardhan. There is a documented history that in 1815 Raja Patnimal of Banaras had purchased this 13.37 acres of land from British government in 1815, and Raja Patnimal had given this entire property in 1944 to Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya for building a Bhavya Krishna Mandir. In 1950 there was a trust which was formulated, Shri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust in 1950, and the intention of the trust was to make a Bhavya Mandir. Why Waris Bhai is so anxious is because of the fact that when this survey will be conducted, the Sheshnag which is there in the so-called mosque will come in the photograph. The Hindu signs and symbols which are in the so-called mosque will come before the court, and therefore he is so anxious because this is no mosque under the Islamic law. This is no mosque. This is not a valid mosque. I can give various proofs and arguments, Navika, but please ask my friend that what document he has. Does he have a valid Waqf deed for this mosque? For every mosque, you require a valid Waqf deed. Waris Bhai, do you have a Waqf
no, everything is settled. Whether a Waqf deed is there or no, everything is settled in the 1968 agreement settlement itself.
Well, it is. How can you consider it settled, Waris Pathan, when the court has agreed that there is a dispute, it is going into the entire matter, and the court has today said that a committee of commissioners will be appointed and this will not impact the merit of the case. आप घबरा क्यों रहे हैं? अगर सिर्फ एक सर्वे होता है उससे घबरा क्यों रहे हैं?
हम पहले हाथ जला चुके हैं. हम इसी तरह पहले हमारा बाबरी मस्जिद को खो चुके हैं ना. हमारी बाबरी मस्जिद को शहीद कर दिया गया 6 दिसंबर के दिन 1992 में.
वो गलत हुआ.
कर दिया था शहीद.
वो गलत हुआ. अब कोर्ट से हो रहा है.
हिंदू मंदिर को तोड़ के मस्जिद बनाई गई है.
इसलिए हम नहीं चाहते कि ये
भाई साहब
एग्रीमेंट ऑफ 12 अक्टूबर 1968
तो ज्ञानव्यापी में रात का अंधेरे शिवलिंग प्रकट हो गया था.
अरे उस टाइम पे जो सारे महाराजा थे ना वो तलवार के इसी पे राज करते थे, चाहे मुसलमान या हिंदू हो.
तो किसने स्टे कराया?
तलवार की नोक पे राज करता था जब संविधान नहीं था. आज तो संविधान है. किसने कराया? और ज्ञानव्यापी के केस में एएसआई सर्वे की रिपोर्ट आने जा रही है. और जब 18 दिसंबर को एएसआई सर्वे की रिपोर्ट आएगी तब पता चलेगा कि एएसआई सर्वे का विरोध क्यों किया जा रहा था. तब पता चलेगा कितनी चीजें निकल के आई है एएसआई सर्वे में. ज्ञान ऑर्डर ये लेके बैठे कोर्ट से. नहीं तो मैं अभी बताता कि ज्ञानव्यापी में एएसआई सर्वे में क्या क्या मिला. तब पता चलता. इसीलिए छुपा रहे हैं सामने ना आए. अरे भाई ये तो एक इंक्वायरी होगी जिसमें एडवोकेट कमीशन बाहर जाएगा रिकॉर्ड पे. एडवोकेट कमीशन ये देखेगा फोटोग्राफी और वीडियोग्राफी करके.
वारिस पठान जी आप इतनी जोर से चिल्लाएंगे. if you raise your voice you are not going to win any case in any court of law.
Because I was very silent. I did not raise my voice initially, but now I think raising a voice makes a point, and I will raise my voice and make my point.
My friend, The fact of the matter is the district court has already said that whether or not the agreement of 1968 applies, is it true or is it fraudulent, will be seen at the trial stage. As of now, the court, Allahabad High Court, has already said that there can be a survey. And my friend, even the Supreme Court has not stopped the survey from being conducted.
I have a right to disagree.
I want to ask you, when you beat your chest about the Supreme Court has said let the survey happen. Aapko dar kis baat ka hai?
The Supreme Court in Ram Mandir case also.
See, I respectfully disagree with the Allahabad High Court. I said, and the Supreme Court is supreme but not infallible, as stated by ex-Chief Justice J.S. Verma the late. He has said the Supreme Court is supreme but not infallible, and I have a right to disagree. If I respectfully I disagree with the order of the court, I feel that the places of worship act is there, and the country will run not on the basis of faith but on the basis of the constitution.
Well, all I can say is that whether or not your contention is held up in court or whether Vishnu Jain's contention is held up in courts, it is the learned judges who will decide the matter. In the interim, to even begin to say that the Supreme Court is final but not infallible, I just want to remind you, अभी तक तो केस उस स्टेज तक पहुंचा नहीं. अभी से आपको इतना अगर डर लग रहा है तो डर को कंट्रोल कीजिए. अभी सिर्फ सर्वे, it's only the survey that has been allowed. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait, and whether you like it or not, the law of the land is implemented by the courts of India, and the courts are institutions that we shall have to obey by.
What about Parliament?
Well,
Temple of Democracy?
Temple of Democracy. The court will interpret. If there is a new law that comes in, then the court will interpret that. But it is the court that will interpret the laws that are made by Parliament. If you are contesting the Places of Worship Act of 1991, it will be actually looked at by the Supreme Court and implemented by the Supreme Court when it finds a judicial argument that is by the letter and spirit of the law. We'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Waris Pathan and Vishnu Jain, for joining me on the Newshour. And thank you, viewers, for joining me and being with me. I'll see you tomorrow as I take leave from you. The Newshour at 9. Tomorrow, same time, same channel.